Hey there, it's Brad Axelrad with FaceYourDragon.com. And I bet you're a bit surprised to see me in this costume. So the thing about Halloween and things like it, birthdays, other things, so many of us suffer and feel sort of resistance and pain maybe, or fear or something in the holidays, putting on a Halloween costume, showing up on camera to thousands of people here at 1111 Unified, experiencing myself right now, the uncertainty, the nervousness, am I doing it right? Was this a good idea? Should I show up on camera wearing this goofy costume in Halloween season? And if you're anything like me, you get nervous, you get fear. Fear is this full range of emotions in our experience as part of our experience, right? Happiness, joy, sadness, fear, grief, despair. All these things are part of our experience. And fear is running a lot of us right now. The sheer amount of uncertainty that's in the world, in our lives, for our health, who knows what's going to happen to the economy. So we have these things present. And I just thought, with this silly costume here, I kind of look like this guy. If you don't know who he is, I didn't really. I'd seen him. But take a look at this. Captain Obvious. Hotels.com. Striking, right? Resemblance. So, with that said, let's dive into our topic today. And I'm just going to go ahead and remove this silly costume here. He probably has a little bit more hair than me. Let me get this off like Superman, and then we will get into our conversation. But there's a reason I started off with this costume, and I'll share a little bit more about that in a second here. Might even loosen the tie a bit. Haven't worn a tie in a long time. I don't know about any of you out there. It's been a while. So, I can be kind of serious sometimes in life, in business, in presentations like this. Tip this down a bit. Sharing my message with the world, committed to, I'm committed to something bigger in life, and I'm certain you are too, or else you wouldn't be watching this presentation. And the presentation title is Loving the Fear Stopping You from Creating the Impact You Want. And if you're anything like me, which I'm sure you are, you want to do something. You're up to something in this world. You want to be a commitment and contribution to humanity, to your family, to your friends, to your community, to the world at large, on the micro and the macro. But something can get in the way sometimes. And even I'm noticing some sensations. Again, I'll keep saying this in full transparency. I'm nervous, but fear is excitement without the breath. So I'm probably not breathing. So maybe you could take a deep breath right now and experience your breath with me and experience whatever you're experiencing in this moment. Maybe it's excitement. Maybe it's judgment. Who is this guy that's talking to me in some weird costume? So fear is excitement without the breath. Okay. So creating an impact in the world. It's funny. I just sent my copywriter the photo of of Captain Obvious. I forgot his name. My name. Again, I'm Brad Axelrad with FaceYourDragon.com. I've worked with some of the biggest luminaries and thought leaders on the planet, helping them transform their fear to commit to contribute at a greater level, channeling their fear, using their fear to leverage into their great work in the world. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But I'll just give you a quick background. You may or may have not read the bio, but I've produced almost 200 live events with some of the biggest thought and business leaders on the planet. I've had a podcast where I've interviewed celebrity thought leaders like Don Miguel Ruiz was guest number 1 on the podcast from the 4 Agreements. Gay Hendricks, Ariel Ford, J.P. Sears, lots of luminaries. And I've been blessed to have spent lots of time around transformation and experienced much of that myself in all different facets of business, of racing semi-professional motocross, pushing the envelope with plant medicine, with being in contributions, starting cryptocurrency companies and coins, and playing in all facets of business that are leading edge and sort of at the edge of comfort. Public speaking being my number one fear. I don't know if you guys have that same experience, but that is the number one fear on the planet above death, the fear of public speaking. So what we're going to talk a little bit about today is really what happens to you and how to sort of leverage your fear. You know, it's about facing your dragon. It's not about slaying your dragon, although those are two different metaphors. There's great power in both of those. Sometimes we do need to really face our fear and get rid of it. But what I think is a more sort of a useful, powerful state is to note that our fear is there to serve us and that we can use it. And as Miguel said on podcast, the Face Your Dragon podcast episode number 1, that it's fear is completely normal, and he says it in his Spanish Mexican accent. Fear is completely normal. It's irrational fear that's the problem. So I think it's really important that we recognize that fear is part of our experience, that we should love it. We should embrace it. We shouldn't resist. Whatever we are resisting will persist. We've all heard that. So we want to learn to recognize that there's great power in all these chemicals surging through my body right now, surging through your body when you're nervous or afraid and you want to go out and create that impact in the world and align with partners and align with other people up to something in the world. You want to recognize that that can be used to your advantage, not resisted. So we'll just sit with that for a second. Where in your life are you noticing resistance and not taking action because you're afraid to do it wrong, to be found out? And we'll talk about some of the 5 fears I've uncovered in working with thousands of people throughout the years in a minute. But you're afraid to do it wrong. You're afraid to say something wrong. You're afraid to trip and fall when you get on the stage. You're afraid to walk into the party and you get nervous. Like I love this example. It's a perfect example of where we get nervous in our lives and we're not quite sure what to do with all the emotions coursing through our body. So if you've ever been to a social gathering, which we're going to start getting around a lot more social gatherings over the coming months, and as the vaccine is permeating, whatever your stance is on the vaccine. I've had coronavirus twice. It's not fun. It's not great. That doesn't matter. What matters is when you notice yourself and feel yourself and observe yourself walking into a social situation, what do? Most people, and maybe you, will look for the bar. Where's the bar? I need alcohol. I can't feel what I'm feeling. Oh my gosh, and where's the alcohol? I must take this edge off because I just can't be with myself. It's too intense. I need this social lubricant to numb out all of this nervous excitement. And you probably stop breathing again. Most people go right to the alcohol. You'll see them. I mean, I'll sit back. I don't drink. I've had maybe 30 drinks in the last, since 2006 or 7. I've probably had 30 drinks. And I've gotten to this place of appreciating that energy and learning to use it in a social setting. Wow, I'm so excited. How can I maybe go dance, maybe talk to somebody, maybe write notes, journal, whatever it is, maybe text a friend some exciting new thought that came into my mind because I've got all of this excitement coursing through my body. Not trying to get rid of it, but trying to use it and channel it. In essence, loving the fear instead of resisting it. So I'm loving the fear, okay? So I don't normally work off of notes, but I'm going to actually take a look at some. And my favorite quote from Joseph Campbell, my entire platform and message is really focused on Joseph Campbell's quote, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." So again, what I say on all the podcasts and oftentimes when I speak, what you're most resisting and most afraid of are the very things that will set you free. It's your moneymaker, your purpose on the planet, and your gift to humanity. So again, like I said, public speaking was my number one fear, and it is the number one fear on the planet. And yet that has provided me everything I have ever wanted in my life. I've attracted NBC Nightly News. I've been on PBS television, USC News 21, CBC Radio in Canada, LA Times, Orange County Register, all this media I've attracted because I stood in that fear of public speaking and realized that it's a gift. And to say this humbly, I think I'm a decent speaker. And behind that fear was my greatest gift. And I'm guessing there's something in your life that you are resisting and or afraid of, that right on the other side of that is the biggest treasure possible to you. Now, what might that be? It might be a relationship you're in that you're afraid to leave. It might be a job that you can't stand that you're in, but you're afraid to leave. It might be a business you're in that you're afraid to close, or a business that you want to start. Whatever it is, whatever you are most resisting and most afraid of, fear means go. That's the direction you should go. So keep that, sort of check in and experience that a little bit and recognize that that is probably what's going to work best for you. So let's talk a little bit about addictions and distractions. So what do most people do? Well, we get on our phones and we thumb through social media when we're bored, or when we need to distract ourselves. Look, I'm all for conscious distractions. Sometimes I need to just shut all of the businesses down and just go golfing, go for a hike, leave. I just did 10 days in Sedona. Like, sometimes we need to shift the energies up. I get that. It's conscious sometimes. Other times it's complete escapism. We're avoiding our feelings. We're avoiding what we should face. In essence, we're avoiding ourselves because we don't really want to know ourselves. We don't really want to feel ourselves. We want to get out of the pain, out of the discomfort. Most go to alcohol, right? Some go to sex, some go to porn, some go to drugs, some go to exercise. We all have our vices at some level until we don't. Those vices can become our friends. They become part of our experience. We can embrace them. We can love them. We can consciously choose to be angry, choose to be happy, choose to distract ourselves, choose to have a glass of wine, choose to smoke marijuana, choose to do something else. Whatever it is that you do, you can be at choice. So what I want us to check in with is that gap between stimulus and response. The stimulus comes up. Do we react or respond? We have that gap to choose whatever it is. Now, again, I'm feeling nervous excitement again right now. As my friend Greg Morse said, I met Greg years ago. He was on my board of advisors. He was a trainer at Peak Potentials, T. Harv Eker. If any of you guys know what that is, Millionaire Mind. A really big movement Harv had for years, and still moving. And Greg was one of the trainers at their Warrior, and he eventually became a close friend and was on my board of advisors for my event business a decade ago. And he said, "Brad, no, that's not fear. That's excitement. No, that's not fear. That's excitement." I'm going to say it again so you remember this. No, that's not fear. That's excitement. Okay, Fritz Perls, the founder of Gestalt Therapy. Fear is excitement without the breath. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Fear is excitement without the breath. It's okay to be excited. We should embrace excitement. We want to feel excited. We can change our state in any moment. Tony Robbins, by shifting our physiology to feel the excitement. And we need to breathe. Okay. Thanks for listening. So, as we do a little time check here, honestly, don't even know how long this has been. Okay, we're 8 minutes in. No, 15 minutes in. Okay. Halfway through. So where are you resisting in your life? Avoiding, distracting, addicted? Like, get real with yourself. Before I even talk about that, get real with yourself. Where are you not facing your dragon? Where are you not being real with yourself? Saying, wow, this isn't really serving me, but I'm too afraid because I don't know what's on the other side of that. I don't know what's going to happen if I do this, that, or the other thing. You know, sometimes we've got to freaking leap. And the saying, leap and the net will appear. There's nothing more true. If we trust the universe, God, the Holy Spirit, every source of energy out there, and if we just leap, the universe conspires for us, with us, to create that net. Racing motocross, there's a moment I would have to hold the throttle on to jump, really big jumps. And if I didn't do it that one moment of time and actually hold the gas all the way on and fully commit, I would break a femur, break an arm, crash. I have friends that have broken their backs. I have friends that have died because of accidents. Some of them are freak accidents. But I guarantee some of those accidents were because of hesitation. They were because of lack of commitment. They were because of a fear instead of just trusting themselves, trusting God, the Holy Spirit, the universe to have our back, their back. They crashed. I've been there 50 times, snow skiing, getting on stage. You know, I've spoken on webinars, teleclasses, podcasts, stages, probably 300 at this point. And there comes that moment. And trust me, I bomb sometimes, and I'm sure you have as well when you're about to give a presentation or step into that job interview or something else, and you bomb. It's all part of the process. But there's that moment you have to just go for it. And you've got to just trust, and changing your state so important, and getting out and just doing it. Even showing up at a party, Halloween party, Thanksgiving party, birthday parties, Christmas parties, whatever it is. You know, sometimes it can be uncomfortable. So we want to use that energy. All right. I love this. When others flee from fear, you can use it as fuel to achieve your most daring dreams. It's so true. So let's dive into the 5 fears keeping you stuck from creating the impact you want in your life. I use these fears. This is part of the Face Your Dragon message. I work with coaches and consultants and entrepreneurs to create a life of a business that sets them free. You know, we get excited. We to steal Alex Mendozian, another brilliant conscious marketer. I love he says it this way. He'll teach people marketing, but smuggle transformation in it. And there's a quote that he says, and he's done like, I don't know, $700 million in sales in transformational and marketing courses and tools and things and coaching and consulting. We want to make sure we don't run enthusiastically in the wrong direction either. So you're noticing that I might be pretty excited. I'm going fast. I'm passionate about this conversation, passionate about life. We have to be passionate about our lives. What's the point if we're not passionate? Stop doing what is not working for you, but also don't run enthusiastically in the wrong direction, right? What I like to say is it's better to walk down the right path instead of run down the wrong one. Okay, so time check. Right on. We're at 20 minutes. Okay. I'm loving wearing this tie. It's been a long time. Used to love wearing suits and ties, but that's another thing. Let me speak on that before I jump into these 5 fears. Make sure that what you're doing in life comes from a place of, we're all spiritual listening to this. I don't want to use trite terms. Sometimes I think there's so many overused terms in the spiritual space and transformational space, but let's just call it alignment. But I think it's deeper than that. Alignment is one thing. It's this beautiful expression of your deepest heart's yearning to come from that place that's so powerful, that's your dharma, that's channeled through you, that wants to emerge itself out of you, with you, as you. That's where we want to come from. So often we make decisions in our life that are from a place of parental conditioning, childhood programming, trauma in our lives, where we're going to show that person, or we're going to show mom or dad that we can do something. And a good portion of my message kind of came from my mom and dad living in so much fear. They were so afraid. Don't do this, Brad. That might happen. Don't do that. So growing up with all older brothers, what did I do? Well, I became the extreme sports guy, and they were all kind of into that stuff, but I took it to the next level. It was street bikes. It was, you name it, all pushing the envelope everywhere. And in recent years, in the last decade, more plant medicine and things like that to really push the edge of comfort for the purpose of growth and transformation. But my point is, in this piece, check in to make sure that what you're doing is coming from that deep down place. It's not out of spite. It's not out of, you don't have an experience of glee sort of when you're getting it, but it's from this deep place of humility and gratitude, and almost brings you to tears that you're on this path. That's what we want to tap into. That's the love that we crave. It's not out there. It's not from a person. It's not from the validation. It's not from the cars, the things. Look at me, I'm so successful, blah, blah, blah. It's none of those things. That's glee in a sense. It's like a false humility, even though people, I'm so humble, but from a place of deep, rich humility, a place of character, a place of honor, a place of surrender, of reverence. That's where we want to come from and leverage all of these fears into that deep down place and bring that gift to the world from our throat chakra. Like this chakra was closed for so long. Opening all of our chakras, coming from that place of deep connected contribution and reverence. Okay. So let's talk about the 5 fears that I've found that stop most of my clients, stops most people in the world. I've changed them just a slight bit, but this is mostly similar to what I would share for any entrepreneur, business owner, inspiring entrepreneur. I'm so excited to wear this Halloween costume. So, the 5 of them, I think you're going to like these. I know you will. So, imposter, scarcity, value, unheard, and critics. Imposter, scarcity, value, unheard, and critics. Most of those are running our experience, keeping us stuck from wanting to create our impact in the world, whatever that looks like. Start a business, start a family, wear this goofy thing. Like I said, I wouldn't normally ever be that guy that's got the tchotchkes on. Like, I've always found that cheesy and trying too hard and really not like from this deep, dropped in, centered place. I still kind of believe that for some. You can sort of feel some people not connected to themselves or doing something for validation, for attention. I get it. I'm not judging it. Just simply suggesting that there's power in play. We so forget to play sometimes. So how can we, recognize these very serious things, right? I wanted to lighten this conversation up a little bit, not have it be so heavy. And that's part of the reason I've got this shiny tie on. So imposter, scarcity, value, unheard, and critics. Where do you feel like an imposter in your life? Right? Let me read the actual sentence so that you'll be found out as an imposter or fraud. Who am I to do this? Who am I to sing at church, sing at the spiritual center, get on Instagram, share a Facebook Live, build a business, rally the community to create some sort of movement and get people engaged? People will know I'm an imposter, so why even try? Or I'm a fraud. Why even start? Look, I've had all of these. I still have all of these at some point, at some time. But you guys know the power. You know the power in naming things, not resisting the emotion, but naming it and saying, wow, I'm feeling like a little bit of an imposter fraud. It's so important to recognize these patterns with specificity and to get really clear on what they are. And we all have patterns. We all have childhood programming, trauma. So check in with the imposter dragon and see if that is running you in some way. You'll be found out as imposter or fraud. All right, the second is scarcity, that when you put yourself out there, people won't want what you're offering, whatever it is. Maybe it's a sale, or you're asking someone to say yes to join you in a movement, join you in some sense of contribution. But the scarcity dragon gets in the way. Nobody's going to join. They won't like me. They won't buy from me. Typically, like I said, I work with coaches, consultants, speakers, podcast hosts. This shows up as I won't get enough clients to sustain myself. So why even try? Let me, as Bob Proctor puts it, I love this. You'll hit your terror barrier and go right back into bondage because it's safe there, or so you think, right? So we push out into this new blue ocean and this open field of possibility, and we get scared. So we retract back, and we go get a job, but we hate it. We hate our lives. We're struggling with this choice because we are afraid to keep pushing, facing all of these dragons over and over and over, eventually loving them and moving beyond them. So we go right back into bondage. 28 minutes. All right. So that the third one is value. So that you'll never have the courage to charge what you know you're worth. So charging what you're worth is a big thing. That can show up as taking a job out of fear. It can show up as lowering your prices as a coach or consultant or an entrepreneur because you're scared instead of standing in your value, owning what you're worth. So often our worthiness comes from the childhood programming. And my favorite transformational work on the planet is the Hoffman Institute. Big fan of the Hoffman Institute. I was the Orange County graduate facilitator back in 2005 for a couple years. And a lot of the work we would do would be about facing and understanding these patterns that are keeping us stuck and not moving forward. If you know what the Hoffman Institute is, I bow to you. It is beautiful. Okay, so the third one is unheard. That your tribe won't get you or understand the difference you can make for them. So, I mean, unheard shows up all over the place in relationships with lovers, with friends, with business associates, with potential clients, whatever it is. They're not going to get me. They just aren't going to understand my message. They're just not going to get it. It happens. Critics is the last one, that if you do achieve the dream, you'll be criticized or your personal life will suffer. So what that looks like is kind of the fear of success. What if I get everything I've ever wanted? there won't be any more challenges? Or what if I get it and my family will judge me and I'm just not, received well if I'm a great big YouTube success or an Instagram success or it was so funny. I just had cult leader pop up. But if you are a community leader that, wants to build community, create community, what if I do? What if people criticize me? What if someone does a negative comment on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram? Or what if I hear bad things said about me? It happens. I couldn't help but think of presidents in the past that have had a lot of bad things said about them, people, anyone for that matter, and how they're able to withstand that level of kind of criticism. All right. So what do we do with, how do we apply these? We're just going to wrap up here in a couple minutes, but how do we apply understanding our fear? So there's a 3-step process. It's find your fear, face your fear, and use your fear. So we want to find it, face it, and use it. So how do we do that? So the first step is intention. It's important to get really and clear on what is your intention. Who do you want to be in the world? How do you want to be in the world? What do you want to do in the world? How do you want this to experience? And look, how do you want to experience this? Look, we can't, as T. Harv Eker from Millionaire Mind used to say, you can't just sit and meditate and a big bag of money is going to fall on your head. It just doesn't work that way. We have to get intentional and we have to be in action. Aligned action, inspired action, focused action, strategic action, not running enthusiastically in the wrong direction. All these things are important to create the impact we want in the world, to generate the income we want. All of it is important. So intention is first. So what is your intention? Why are you doing it? Where is it coming from? Like we were talking about, is it coming from your deep self, or is it coming from patterns? So where's that coming from? Second step, full immersion. So intention, then immersion. So now complete immersion, full commitment, all the way in, burning your boats, no looking back, doing all the things, removing addictions, removing distractions, whatever those are in your life. It's okay to have an intentional fun play, but most of the time we just get on the phone and we're numbing out, right? Like all these things that get in the way of us taking intentional, inspired, aligned action. We get scared, we stop, we hit our terror barrier, and we numb out in some way. So full immersion, studying, doing the work, removing the social circles. So many people in spiritual communities I've witnessed, and I've lived in them, are completely dopamine addicted, oxytocin addicted. Community is amazing. It fills us up on so many levels. It's very healthy for us, and it can be a complete distraction and addiction. Straight up biochemical addiction. Everything is biology, it's biochemicals, it's neurology. So we want to take a look. How can we get fully immersed in something and remove the addictions, the distractions, and stay focused and get our needs met from our purpose, from our community, from our family, from everything. But my guess is you want to create a bigger impact in the world, or you wouldn't be watching this. And you're going to get there by removing addictions and distractions and full immersion. Okay. So intention, immersion, impact. Impact is ultimately what will happen when you get in action intentionally and fully immerse yourself and remove all of that. So intention, immersion, action. Okay, so how do you get in action? To get started, I've created a 1-minute quiz. It's called the Courage Quiz. You find it at couragequiz.com. And it helps you discover the number one hidden fear stopping you from earning what you're worth. It's a little bit more focused on how to make more money, but all of this, we have to make money. If we don't make money, it's tough. We can go off the grid, which I've tried. I've done it all in Costa Rica, doing all of that. Like, we have to make money. It's just part of our 3D reality. No matter if you're in 4D, 5D, all these Ds, that could be 100D. We are currently alive on this planet And we can't live in a Burning Man community year round. We could try. I see many people trying it, but we need to make money. So couragequiz.com to discover the number one hidden fear stopping you from earning what you're worth. I think you'll appreciate that and enjoy that. We're in the process actually of recreating that entire new marketing funnel, which might actually be live by the time you watch this. And I'm just so honored to be with you today. Thanks for listening to me. Thanks for being attentive to me and to yourself, and committed to your transformation on the planet, whatever it is. You would not be tapped into this frequency at 1111 Unified if you weren't committed to something bigger than yourself, and I commend you for that. There are many of us waking up to what needs to happen in the world to find our sense of well-being internally and externally. And now is the time for us all to rise up and really get committed and focused and surrendered to what is here. Reverence for what is unfolding. We need to trust the process. It's pretty intense, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fears. But I hope this gave you some tools to use to leverage the fears into your great work in the world. And I promise that it has. So thank you very much. FaceYourDragon.com, CourageQuiz.com. I bow to you and your purpose on the planet. Blessings.